Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to make a cherry pie. So we're going to do this with a natural fresh crust, not a tender flake type that we did last time. So I learned growing up how to make a fresh crust, or you can get the flaky pie crust box as well. You can make it with either butter or shortening. We're going to do the shortening. Changed my recipe idea from the other day, so I usually make it with shortening, and that's what we're gonna do. Hi Dave, how's it going? So we are going to get started with that shortly. Just do an audio and video check here first, guys. And hello Sam, hello Admiral. Dave, I did let you know I'll email you when that is sent, so good. Thanks, Admiral. So as I said, I've made a pie crust from scratch before, but we're gonna follow a recipe, and if I can do it, you can do it, we'll do it together. I've never made a cherry pie before though. So that'll be interesting. Hi Matt, how's it going? Yeah, I love pies, period. Yeah, Dave, so I'll email you as soon as I mail that. It won't be for a couple of days or a week or so. So I need to set up a P.O. box. I'm procrastinating on that a little bit, so. Alright. So if I go over here, Dad didn't clean his oven top after, stove top after he cooked yesterday, but it's better to let it heat up, and we'll clean it after we get our stuff mixed. Go over here to my laptop, and this is from allrecipes.com, guys. Best pie crust. Now you can follow the recipe to do it here in the back of this can. That makes you have to use butter. This recipe is a shortening recipe. Hi Daniel, welcome. Hi Wilford, welcome. Double tap, like, and subscribe. Go to the Shorts channel and subscribe to Wilfred if you haven't. So we're making cherry pie, guys. That's what we're doing today. So the first thing I did is preheat the oven to 425 Fahrenheit. Once you learn to make it, you can make it really quick in like 10 minutes, and then it cooks in the oven for about 40 or 50 minutes, bakes in the oven. So this recipe has an area where you can do half, 1 or 2. We want to do a 2 amount of the pie crust, so a double amount, because we're going to be doing a top layer on it. If we weren't doing it, then we would do a 1 times here for the recipe information, or 2 times. So we need 1 cup of vegetable shortening. My grandmother always used Crisco. We're gonna use Crisco, guys. Nice and easy. It's always good to have a box of Crisco in your pantry cupboard, always. We're going to do that. It's calling for 1 cup of vegetable shortening. My measuring cup's over here. And we have some other measuring devices too. So we might leave that for a minute. So you guys talk in the chat all you like. any questions, let us know, or in comments, no zone. So 1 cup of vegetable shortening, 3 cups of flour. We're using a Robin Hood all-purpose flour. You get all your ingredients in your utensils out first, guys. So we're going to use unbleached. And they'll want us to do 3 cups of that. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. So we have our salt. And 1 cup of ice cold water. So we're going to use bottled water. We'll throw that in the freezer for a few minutes. So we're going to combine the flour and salt in a medium bowl first. They're saying medium, but I'm using a large one. Hi everyone. Welcome. We're making a cherry pie. So we're going to make a scratch pie crust. Scratch, homemade. Two more things I need from here. My whisk and my rolling pin. And I need my mat. It's always good to use a baker's mat. If you don't have one, you need to get parchment paper. So you can get that at the local dollar store, Walmart, grocery store. But we're going to use, it's Betty Crocker. Rubber baking mat. And way back in the day, they used to have measured portions on a big one. But this is good, cleans up nice. Combine flour and salt in a medium bowl. So 3 cups of flour. And you never pour over your bowl, guys, because you don't want more than it's asking for. Then you go 3 cups. So it's 2 cups. So we'll go 2 plus 1. Let my help, let's share a chair. Yep, it's that time of year you get pictures with Santa. So now we want 1 cup. We did our tail. And that's 1 cup. And now we need to do our salt. I have the vent or hood range fan off so it's not too noisy for everyone. Okay, so 1 teaspoon of salt. So you can use 1 teaspoon. That's 0 on the drawer. Use it everywhere. Okay, So your teaspoon is your small spoon size. If you have to do it without a measuring tool. So you get 3 types of spoons in your bowl. So you get like a main or soup spoon. There's a different type of soup spoon too. You get like a medium spoon or dessert. And then you have a small spoon. That's your teaspoon. So if you don't have a measurement, then it's your small spoon. Is actually there. What's that? There. So again, don't pour over your bowl because you don't want too much. Oh no, I was just reading about that. So I will do that next year, Daniel. I'd like to string cranberries next year as well. So if we get around there and I forget, then I will need a reminder about cranberries and cherries next year. I'm just going to put a pinch of salt over my left shoulder. So 1 teaspoon. Okay, next is shortening. I need to get a pastry thing, but I can use a whisk. So I need to replace my pastry pusher thing, blender. I can use a whisk, and they need how much shortening? 1 cup. So again, this is best pie crust recipe on allrecipes.com. You can do a butter recipe, which is not best. This is a shortening recipe, and I tend to like this better. Crispier, brown's better. One cup of vegetable shortening. So we'll do that next. And we have our measurement here. And the good thing about shortening, it does have measurements on this Crisco box. They've been around for decades, really great company. So you would know that this much is a cup, this is 2 cups. So I don't actually technically even need to put this in here. However, I keep my shortening down in the cupboard. There's no reason to put it in a fridge. So it's ready to go. Fork or teaspoon. Okay. So if we were doing butter, it would tell me to cube the butter. I don't need to with this. I'm just checking. Okay, so now we're going to put the shortening in with the flour and salt. So just put it around the bowl evenly until you mix it in. This is too bendy to get this out. mix that together. So we've got 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a cup of shortening. You're going to take your pastry blender or your whisk and mix that together. Not liking my whisk right now until I blend some. Alright, so I recommend a rubber spoon for baking. Rubber or wooden works good. And just mix that all together. We'll get to a point where we'll put the whisk through and just make sure that it moves good. And with anything, just always go around your edges and get everything. The good stuff always goes to the edges. So just stir and push. We'll keep doing that. It's a really good shortening, so there shouldn't be any problems when I whisk through it. So get around the edges and really down in the bottom too. Okay, so next is water. So we have our bottled water in the fridge chilling. We need that now. Now you never want to add all the water. You want to add it gradually. Less is better. You can always add more. You want to keep adding it until the dough grows. They call for a cup, maybe, of cold water. We'll see. So let's do that next. So again, we had a bottle of cold water, and that was chilling in the freezer. And I didn't put my apron on yet, guys. It's clean, but it's wrinkly. Hi, Ryan. We're making a cherry pie. Okay, so 1 cup of water. So we're going to add that gradually until this grabs. Now, this is where you should probably do it by hand, and this rubber tool is going to work best. All right. So they've said 1 tablespoon at a time. So I explained to you guys spoons earlier. This is a teaspoon. This is a salad or dessert and little sauces and things. And this is your main tablespoon. So this is different from our last lesson. It was a teaspoon. This time it's a tablespoon. Calling for if you don't have a measurement thing. So I need a tablespoon at a time. So that's the difference between the teaspoon of salt that we put in. This is a tablespoon. Your biggest spoon in the drawer of your utensils. So we'll add this gradually. I recommend adding it around the outside first. You can just keep turning the bowl and mixing it. And cut it through like this. So this time we'll put some in the middle. We want to really dig at the bottom of this to get the water up too. So that's what I was doing there. This time we're going to go around the outside. So it's just starting to grab. We're going to need some more water. Put this in the middle this time. So soon I'm going to have to move some stuff out of my way and put my rubber mat down and some flour on it so nothing sticks to it. I'm going to need half of this recipe to roll out. The next half will be after we fill the pie and it goes on top of the pie. Hi, Barry. So we're making a cherry pie. Welcome. Hi, Grid. We're making a cherry pie, Grid. Okay, she's just starting to grab a little more. We're going to add some more water now. So she's starting to grab a little more, guys. We'll see this come together in the next few minutes. There's Admiral. So we'll add some more water again. It says to add a tablespoon at a time, but 2 tablespoons at a time with this double recipe is the correct way. One at a time would be for a single pie recipe. This is double because of the topping. Okay, she's really coming together nice now, guys. So soon I'm gonna have to work this with my hands because she's starting to stick together and get heavy. So the next 2 tablespoons I'm gonna do with my hands to work them together. So she's starting to stick together now. We need that to completely stick together so that we can divide it in 2. And it's got to stay together while it rolls out. Okay, let's add 1 for now. So less is better, you guys. If you feel you need to add more, that's fine. And don't pour over your bowl in case you spill it or add too much. And we can always fix it with a bit of flour. However, you don't want to have to fix it. You want to do it right. Kind of like kneading fresh bread when you make it. Okay, let's get all of our stuff. I think we got all that. I think guys ever made Play-Doh as a kid? That's kind of the consistency that you want this. So I wouldn't add any water to this right now. I think it's gonna divide in two and roll out fine. So it calls for almost a cup of water. See, I still have some there. We can use if we want, but it's not ready. Hi Guapia, we're making a cherry pie. So I'll just push and roll that out, and we're gonna split that in half in a second. In the meantime, I'm gonna throw it in the freezer for a sec and just let it chill. Don't really want any cracklies in that, so let's do this again. Okay, I'm gonna chill that for a minute in the freezer. Okay, so our oven is on 425. When we go to bake the pie, we're going to start on 425. For about 10 minutes, and then we'll turn it down for the next 40 minutes or so. So we're going to make some room to roll out our dough next. Having a Pepsi Zero, guys. Yummy. Get Dad to clean his stove mask with Windex shortly. Okay, so this is our rubber mat for rolling the pie. When we roll the pie, we don't want it any bigger than this surface, basically. We roll it out to that surface. You can pinch ends if it's too much, but we're gonna roll it out about that much. So almost edge to edge, rubber to rubber here. And 1, 2, about 3 inches from each side of this mat. Do that in a few minutes. We have the flour chilling. I put my flour away. So. The reason why that's an issue is you should flour your pin and your surface. And like I said, if you don't have a rubber mat to use, then I recommend you use parchment paper. Alright, so flour, pan. And our mat. Yeah, this recipe I was going to use calls for sugar and butter, but I chose to use the salt and shortening recipe. That's what I'm used to making it. A lot better for people who can't have sugar as well. Okay, so it's going to be a few minutes while we still have that chill. So we'll get started on rolling it out in about 5 minutes or so. Alright, welcome back. And so we're going to roll out the dough about 1 inch farther than the pastry plate. So the last time I made a pie, that wasn't the tender plate. I used Nanny's corning dish. This time I'm going to try out a Pyrex from a set that I got. Has lasagna, meatloaf pans, things like that. So we're going to roll this out next. So about 1 inch past the pastry shell. So the entire mat this way, and about 1 inch on the sides. So we want to cut this in half because we need a double recipe to make top. So always cut away from yourself, you guys. Okay, we'll cut that in half. And we put that back in the fridge. not the freezer. Alright, so the best way to start our roll is to make a ball. And it wants to be a good ball with no cracks. If you're getting cracks, you should add some more water. Put it all back in and add water, like a teaspoon or a tablespoon only. Okay, so nice little roll, and we'll flatten that out. Tiny little cracks, that's normal. And I just want a little bit of flour on that, so we're gonna flip it on the flour. And we'll start rolling that. So it's really easy, you guys. This used to be a famous thing for old ladies back in the day, a broom or a rolling pin. If anyone wants to ask me about that sometime, I'll tell you all about it. So we've got a nice beautiful dough that I'm rolling out here. You can tell by the mixture. It's like marbly looking. It's beautiful. And just keep rolling that. I'm gonna flip that again, guys. Nice flour consistency in it, so it's not sticky. And just keep rolling it till it gets to where I need it. So I'm going to take my pan and hold over it and judge it next. Should be almost rolled out to where I need in a sec. Yeah, almost exactly what I need. Okay, so then we're going to take your pan, double check, and it's great. So we're going to lay this into the pan now. So you can do this with any pies, you guys. You can do it with meat pies. It's a really famous yummy crust with the shortening. So we'll get a tiny little bit of fold here will do. Makes it pretty too. You don't want that to hang over the edge, so we'll just fold her, crinkle her back. Doesn't matter what you do with it, just kind of ripple, fold it. And then the number one rule you guys need to know is that we need to poke this with a fork to get air in that circulating through. So like 30 or 40 pokes, I think. 40, 50, whatever you want to do. It needs pokes. Okay, so we'll get this part of the pie ready. And now we need to open our filling. I usually go all the way around the can and remove that lid because it's dangerous. You can use a manual or electric opener, it doesn't matter. It's a cool pie symbol. So you can use rubber, you can use wooden. I'm going to use wooden to pull my filling. We will have a whipped cream for topping as well. So I'll show you that right now before I forget. So you can top your pie with some whipped cream or ice cream, whichever you prefer. After it's baked and cooled quite a long time. So someone asked me about doing the cherries yourself. E.D. Smith are perfect, beautiful cherries. I'll do it next year, but it's the easiest, breeziest way to make pies for decades. Okay, we're going to go back to our instructions, make sure we don't miss anything. Roll dough gently on floured pastry cloth about 1 inch larger than your plate. Fold dough carefully in half, place it in a pie plate, unfold. Place gently in pan. Single crust trim. And we're doing double crust. Double ingredients for double. Half inch top crust under. Okay, so let's add our filling. So I'd start in the middle. You can always move it out. So add your filling to the middle. And we're going to open our second can in a minute. So 2 cans, 540 ml cans for this pie. So always wipe the top of your can off. Always wipe the can opener. Always remove the lid. It's less dangerous to have it on there. Alright, we're going to add the next filling. So we're using E.D. Smith cherry pie filling. Again, pour it in the middle. It will go to the sides or you can move it. So that went in nice and fine. We'll just rub it with a spoon, the back of the spoon, just a little bit. And that's perfect. Tastes like strawberry rhubarb. Yeah, it's yummy. Okay, so now we're going to pull our next piece of flour, or crust, from the fridge. And we're going to roll that out, and we're going to cut slats and put on top. So next step coming out. That didn't rinse out good. Let's rinse that some more. Let's roll out some more dough. So that's why they said use a medium bowl, but I needed to use a large because I was doubling the recipe. So I need more flour on my rolling pin. And on the area I'm working in. Okay, so we'll make our ball. And we'll squish that. Flip it. And we'll roll it out and cut our slats in a minute. So we want to go about the same distance because we want to fit the top of the pie. So again, once you get all your ingredients out and you start rolling, shouldn't take you too long. It does take an hour to bake it in the oven, about 50 minutes, 40 minutes. Depends. If it starts cooking really fast, you can cover it with tinfoil to slow that down. But you should be able to mix everything together, roll it out, throw it together pretty fast. Now, what slowed down my mixing is hand mixing. You can put everything in a electric mixer if you have a big one to do that. I learned by hand, so I'm teaching you guys by hand. You could cook it in the woods near a rock one day. Okay, so we're almost where we need to be. Flip this one more time. Okay, that should be good for our slats. We'll cut that next. I always recommend an apron, guys, because then you can tidy up without touching old dish rags and things. Hey, yes, that's what I did on the short when I was presenting some of the ingredients I was using, but we changed from butter to shortening recipe. That's what I'm used to. It makes it flaky and brown really nice. So we're doing scratch crust, yep. We're doing cherry pie. So we built our pie, and we're doing slats now on top. So we'll just take our knife and cut our first slat. And trim that edge piece off. And put that in there. And there's our first slat. We'll put that right down the middle. Okay, so next is our next slat. And we'll put that right here. And then just fold it that end's tiny. We need another one. I'll put that right here. Getting a little long on the ends, so I'm going to tear that off. Cut another slat. Okay, so now I can start to crisscross these things like this. Cut another one. Always cut away from yourself, guys. So, put this little piece right here. Nothing's perfect, but this pie is, I think. The perfect cherry pie. That might be what I call the lot. Alrighty. So just check the edges. Make sure they're a little bit folded. Push tiny on that, secure it. We've got a tiny little bit left, but the birds and the animals in the fill will eat that, that's fine. You have to wash this by hand. Always wash your cutting boards and your rolling pins really well. Can cause major issues, make you sick. I'll be washing my measuring cup. That'll be my hand in a bit. Alright, so I'll show you guys just a sec. This is gonna go in for 10 minutes on 425. After 10 minutes, we need to turn it down to 350 for about 40 minutes or so. But here's what we did, guys. We made a cherry pie with scratch crust. So we're gonna put that in the oven in a minute. that dishwasher. This will have to be washed by hand. And cutting board, rolling pin, baker mat always needs to be washed really well. Yeah, it looks really good. My goodness. Wow, eh? Let's put it under the light here so you guys can really see it. Yeah, it looks amazing. So we're going to put that in, and I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and then turn this down when it beeps. So we'll do 11. I'm going to take the long to get it in. 10 minutes on 425, and then 40 minutes or 30, depends, we'll have to keep an eye on it, on 350. I'll show you what that looks like in the oven. Egg wash it. I don't need to just because of the shortening. But there she is in the oven, guys. She's going to start baking for us. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this live. I'm going to tidy up, help my father with some life skills, and then I'll come back on when it's coming out of the oven, because I will be having a piece while it's still hot with whipping cream. That's my thing when I do pies. So we'll do shout outs. Dave Kellaway, Sam Gloves, Admiral, Matt S., Daniel Wilfred, Ryan K., Barry Grid, Guap Freshly. Okay guys, so about 40 or 50 minutes when I go to pull that, I'll come back on. So, see you then.